when I fall.
Good afternoon, this is Sheldopedia. It's Wednesday the 7th of April today. Coming up, I'll tell you what COVID doing and what does the transit bubble mean for New Zealand. After I play Obsessed by a new song by a TikTok star turned musician which is Edison Ray. Jeez.
You turned our song down, baby, what for? You had lit candles on the dashboard. Red roses growing out of the door. Wanna say something you never said before. We were driving down Sunset. No, I love fast cars. Passed by where we first met. Damn, we made it so far. Red eyes from the red light, and that just set the mood. You say you're obsessed with me, so I took a second, and I said me too. I'm obsessed with me as much as you. Say you die for me, I'd die for me too. And if I lost you, I'd still have me, I can't lose. When you say that you're obsessed with me too. I did my hair like waves on the beach. This dress so tight you can't even speak. My hair's so high, might get a nosebleed. Music so loud, but I hear your heartbeat. We were driving down Sunset. No, I love fast cars. Passed by where we first met. Damn, we made it so far. Red eyes from the red light, and that just set the mood. You say you're obsessed with me, so I took a second, and I said me too. I'm obsessed with me as much as you. Say you die for me, I'd die for me too. And if I lost you, I'd still have me, I can't lose. When you say that you're obsessed with me too. I'm obsessed with me as much as you. Say you die for me, I'd die for me too. And if I lost you, I'd still have me, I can't lose. When you say that you're obsessed with me too.
That was Obsessed by Edison Ray on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. PM announced a trans-season bubble which New Zealanders and Australians can go both games from 8th of April. The Australian Airways are buzzing about the opening of a trans-season bubble, and Prime Minister Sheldon has taken the opportunity to provide a holiday across the ditch. Ardern appeared on Australian breakfast radio and television shows on Wednesday morning, announcing that New Zealand would open up to quarantine-free travel from Australia on Monday, April 19th. She spoke of hearing from excited families ready to travel across the Tasman from Australia, and she joked about Australians should consider New Zealand as another Australian state for the purposes of a bubble. Again, I can't believe I'm saying this view. New Zealand is another state in that way, just for that particular scenario, as I'm saying. I didn't see it on the Today Show. If there's a hotspot, one of these states or Australia, we may just act the same way that another state would, just prepare for maybe disruption, but what better place in the world to be stuck? Am I right, she said to the laughter from the hosts. And it was not only to improvise a possibility of ours being reunited, but to make a series of pictures from prospective Australian travellers. I say that everyone who perhaps he does have a condition, everyone needs a break, might be need for a change of scene, so come and visit one of our cities, enjoy our foods, our drink, our shopping. Or you just need a bit of R&R to come and visit the wide open space. Our nature, our ski fields, our experiences are incredible. Travellers to New Zealand were asked to follow a simple instruction as they do at home. Adun said, whenever I go, scan QR codes with a COVID tracer app and it's maintained basic hygiene, such as hand washing. She said she was a personal campaign to have a best comedian Celeste Barber visit New Zealand. She would soon welcome Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Here's Drew here. We are due to host him for an annual dialogue. Sometimes after that I'll look into return and come and see you guys on Sunrise. I did said was anticipated that any COVID-19 outbreak would meet with a short, sharp lockdown, and New Zealand travellers should not be necessary to expect they'll be required to quarantine if cases were discovered in Australia. Hope it doesn't appear before it opens up. We'll always make an effort for people to be able to return home, but there may be a small set of circumstances where we might have to use quarantine, but we do not. It's been a common response. There are also questions about the spread of vaccine rollout in New Zealand. 51% of New Zealanders have been fully vaccinated. It has been a concern in Australia about a slow start to vaccination campaign. I didn't speak on today's show. Both New Zealand and Australia are very like a procedure, so don't need to be first in vaccinating their populations. With a strategy we had was meant for vaccine for us. It's been not a question of endeavour the same way it's been in the other parts of the world. Both cases are working very hard to work with vaccines as it's important to get freedoms we already have. On 5AA, a commercial talk about radio station I was asked about the prospect of New Zealand opening up further to other destinations Australians know and love in the Pacific. With protests for us Cook Islands and Niue, that's our next focus. I know Fiji are keen. We don't have any formal plans for yet. For our host, wish New Zealand good luck managing hundreds of thousands of Australians heading across the desert as have been stuck at home more than a year. Just know that there will be protocols placed to deal with any COVID-19 outbreaks on other side of the bubble. Unless whatever countries have been massive outbreaks like US and Brazil, it will be suspended immediately.
Managing COVID and keeping it out of New Zealand over the last year has been a massive team effort. And while I know we're all familiar with how lucky we are, especially as we watch some countries only now just starting to gather with friends and family again, we still do not forget that the position we find ourselves in has still come at a cost. One sacrifice that has been particularly hard for many to bear over the past year has been not being able to see friends and family who live in Australia. Our health response now gives us the opportunity to connect with loved ones again as we start a new chapter in our recovery. Cabinet was presented with advice today that the conditions for opening up quarantine-free travel with Australia have been met. The Director-General of Health considers the risk of transmission of COVID-19 from Australia to New Zealand to now be low, and that quarantine-free travel would be safe to commence. Cabinet accepts that advice and is confident not only in the state of Australia, but also in our own ability to manage a travel arrangement. While Queensland has recently undergone an outbreak connected to the border, this too looks contained, and Cabinet believes any residual risk can be managed with additional precautionary processes such as pre-departure testing if needed. On that basis, I can confirm that quarantine-free travel between New Zealand and Australia will commence in just under 2 weeks' time, from 11:59 p.m. Sunday, April 18. This is an important step forward in our COVID response and represents an arrangement I do not believe we have seen in any other part of the world, that is, safely opening up international travel to another country while continuing to pursue a strategy of elimination and a commitment to keeping the virus out. But while quarantine-free travel to Australia and vice versa will start in a fortnight, it will not be what it was pre-COVID. While we absolutely wish to encourage family and friends to reunite and visitors to come and enjoy the hospitality New Zealand is ready and waiting to offer, those undertaking travel on either side of the ditch will do so under the guidance of flyer beware. People will need to plan for the possibility of having travel disrupted if there is an outbreak. But to help people plan ahead and make decisions around their travel, we want to share as much information as we can about our decision making. Just as we have our alert level settings for managing cases in New Zealand, we will also now have a framework for managing an outbreak in Australia. In many ways, we will treat Australia as a region of our own when making decisions on restrictions, albeit one with the complication of multiple internal borders. To help make that work as seamlessly as possible, our officials are already working closely together, and our health teams will be part of calls that discuss new cases that may emerge both here and in Australia. Once we know about a case in Australia, we will have 3 possible responses when it comes to flights and access to our border. And we've captured these with a framework based on continue, pause, or suspend. As you'll see from the material provided, we've set out the types of scenarios that could lead to each response. They broadly follow the kinds of decisions that you'd see if there was a case here. For instance, if a case is found that is quite clearly linked to a border worker and a quarantine facility and is well contained, you'd likely see travel continue in the same way as you would see life continue if that happened here in New Zealand. If, however, a case was found that was not clearly linked to the border and a state responded by a short lockdown to identify more information, we'd likely pause flights from that state in the same way we would stop travel into and out of a region in New Zealand if it were going into a short lockdown. And if we saw multiple cases of unknown origin, we would likely suspend flights for a set period of time. In each of these situations, travellers in an affected state should expect 2 things. First, that they must follow the guidelines given to them locally. Second, that when travel does resume and they're able to come to New Zealand again, they could be asked to do one of 4 things depending on the risk. Either simply monitor their symptoms on return, 2, take a test before they depart, 3, isolate on arrival, or 4, possibly in some situations, go into managed isolation for up to 14 days. These precautions are all part of our preparation to keep COVID out, and of course are not based on hypotheticals. Both countries have had border incursions, and I know neither one of us wishes to export COVID to the other country. These protocols will help ensure that we don't. Many of us haven't travelled abroad for over a year, and I know we expect travel to be different in a COVID environment, and it will be. So I wanted to provide a snapshot of what a traveller coming from Australia to New Zealand can expect, both so they can see how important it is to us that they have a safe experience, but also so Kiwis can hear about the protections that exist at the border. When those in Australia currently make the welcome decision to come to New Zealand, they'll be making a booking on what is called a green zone flight. That means that there will be no passengers on that flight who have come from anywhere but Australia in the last 14 days. They will also be flown by crew who have not flown on any high-risk routes for a set period of time. Passengers will need to provide comprehensive information on how they can be contacted while in New Zealand. They won't be able to travel if they have cold or flu symptoms. When they fly, they will be required to wear a mask on the flight and will also be asked to download and use the New Zealand COVID Tracer app for use while in New Zealand. On arrival, passengers will be taken through what we call the green zones at the airport, meaning there'll be no contact with those who are arriving from other parts of the world and going into managed isolation or quarantine facilities. We will also be undertaking random temperature checks of those arriving as an extra precaution. All of that alongside, of course, the usual welcome that we like to give all those who are either our guests or who are returning to Aotearoa, New Zealand. As you can hear, quite a bit of preparation has been required by airlines and airports, and I thank them for that work. Final infection control audits for airports in particular are occurring over the next 2 weeks. The Ministry of Health expects to have completed these and to report on them on the 16th of April. We will confirm that this has been completed in the days preceding the opening of travel on the 19th. If any airport is found not to be ready, they simply won't be a part of the opening that will be occurring on the 19th of April. The Director General of Health will also give final confirmation of any conditions of travel that may affect Queensland by next Wednesday. Before I conclude, I want to make a final comment on the implication for managed isolation spaces. It is estimated the bubble will free up around 1,000 to 1,300 rooms per fortnight within managed isolation facilities. Of course, there is a range because there is no allocation to Australians or anyone travelling from Australia for rooms. They are just part of the general MIQ bookings. We will retain roughly 500 spaces as contingency, should they be needed as part of the new Trans-Tasman arrangements. We also have a small number of facilities that we consider to have only been suitable for travellers in quarantine from low-risk countries, and indeed some facilities that is what they have been used for alone. With the opening of travel, we will look to decommission these facilities. But in the meantime, we are considering whether they could be used for other low-risk countries, such as the Pacific Islands. As a result of this, we do not anticipate a large number of vacant quarantine spaces to come on stream. Minister Hipkins, though, will make further announcements on this in the coming weeks. And I should add, it does not change the fact that we are separately doing work on whether or not we can enhance the arrangements for family members who have been separated by the border measures. That work continues and will not be affected by these MIQ decisions. Let me be clear though, New Zealanders can still return home and there will still be thousands of spaces in MIQ for those returning citizens and permanent residents. That's how we have helped 130,000 people safely return home through our managed isolation facilities. And at present, we have vacancies for some of the first time since, I believe, October last year, perhaps a reflection of the season that New Zealand is about to enter into, as in winter. Finally, this is an exciting day. The Trans-Tasman bubble represents the start of a new chapter in our COVID response and recovery, one that people have worked so hard for and that makes New Zealand and Australia relatively unique. I know families, friends and significant parts of our economy will welcome it, as I know I certainly do.
The travel says as greeners continue, oranges pause if there's any community transmission and suspend if there's mobile community transmission. What happened in US and Brazil and Europe at the moment. So, families, you don't need to quarantine. Next song I'll be playing to Olivia Rodrigo's follow up single, which is Deja Vu on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM.
Car ride to Malibu, strawberry ice cream, 1 spoon for 2 and trading jackets, laughing about how small it looks on you. Watching reruns of Glee, being annoying, singing in harmony. I bet she's bragging to all her friends, saying you're so unique. So when you're gonna tell her that we did that too? She thinks it's special, but it's all reused. That was our place, I found it first. I made the jokes you tell to her when she's with you. Do you get deja vu when she's with you? Do you get deja vu? Do you get deja vu? Do you call her? Almost say my name, 'cause let's be honest, we kinda do sound the same. Another actress. I hate to think that I was just your type. I bet that she knows Billy Joel, 'cause you played her uptown girl. You're singing it together now. I bet you even tell her how you love her in between the chorus and your verse. So when you're gonna tell her that we did that too? She thinks it's special, but it's all we used. That was the show we talked about. Played you the song she's singing now when she's with you. Do you get deja vu when she's with you? Do you get deja vu? Do you get deja vu? Strawberry ice cream in Malibu. Don't act like we didn't do that shit too. You're trading jackets like we used to do. Everything is all real. Play her piano, but she doesn't know that I was the one who taught you Billy Joel. A different girl now, but there's nothing new. I know you get deja vu.
That was Deja Vu by Olivia Rodrigo on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. Right. Leader of an opposition shooter of Collins praises Curry Ella as extraordinary in balancing cancer diagnosis a national emergency.
Yeah, and I just look. I missed that. I don't know if you feel like.
Yeah, look, I thought, I mean, I was shocked, like I think everybody was, with the news about Kuritapu Allen having stage 3 cervical cancer. I just thought, she just did such a great job during the latest tsunami threat and the civil defence threat, and to find out that she knew that this was all going on, in the background for her, at the same time that she had to step up in her first big ministerial test, I thought was just extraordinary that she went through that. But, I can imagine she would have been putting herself in the background and putting her job first, but it's just a reminder that what people see is not necessarily what's going on behind the scenes. So all the best to Kiritapu.
Judith Collins, thank you so much for joining us this morning, as you do every Wednesday at this time. We appreciate it.
Hope we get well soon, Kerry. So, what there's been calls to get more smears and vaccine and self-testing following yesterday's shock news. But we don't want to talk about it, so don't want terrible stuff on my show. We want to be all fun and interesting. Next song I will be playing gonna play ATB 9 p.m. till I come on Sheldopedia on Error FM. The new version came out first, the version topic in A7S, but and maybe good Beveridge one all the way
till I come.
And say
It's 9 p.m. till I come by ATB on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. FM. The track beat number 1 in the UK and number 14 in his homeland. The new version is steadily gaining sharp prominence. President Joe Biden announced on Tuesday it is moving up its deadline for states to make all American adults eligible for a coronavirus vaccine by almost 2 weeks. Yet Americans must remain on War 14 to beat the virus. With all states have open eligibility for a public list being announced they plan to do so, Biden announced that every adult in the country will be eligible to vaccinate by April 19th instead of original deadline on May the 1st. Speaking at the White House at the visitor vaccination center in Alexandria, Virginia, Biden said that 150 million doses of the coronavirus vaccine have been administered within his first 75 days of office, in line with a goal of 200 million shots by his 100th day in office. While the president was pleased with the progress, he stressed the US must continue to ramp up efforts to beat the pandemic. We all know we'll have ramp up a whole government. Prior to that rallies, the whole country had put us war footed to truly beat the virus. And that's what have done enough doing getting enough vaccine supply, mobilising more vaccinators, creating more places to get vaccinated, and we're now administering an average of 3 million shots per day, over 20 million shots per week, Biden said. Biden told how the US reported more than 4 million doses of coronavirus vaccine administered in a single 24-hour period last weekend. The record came St. Antonio field officials, Port Charles officials charged with a Baltimore Felicity, which is still for making another vaccine by AstraZeneca. Other ingredient error ruined potentially 15 million of one-shot doses. As other nations clamour for more shots, including the US, Biden said that the US is the first country to administer 150 million shots, according to Weldon data. The US had administered more than 165 million doses as of Monday night, with China having administered a little less with 140 shots. But President said more than 0% of people over the age of over age of 65 gotten a shot, and over 55% of them are fully vaccinated, according to the US Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. A number was 8% when he took office Tuesday after advances Biden score from last week that 90% of adults will be eligible to get a coronavirus vaccine by April 19th, as well as a vaccination within 5 miles of where they live. Said the number of pharmacists participated in the federal primary vaccination program was increasing from a current 1,700 locations to 40,000. The president said last week administration would open up 12 additional federally run mass vaccination sites in the past week. New vaccination sites being announced in Tennessee, Wisconsin, Maryland, South Dakota, Colorado, and Minnesota. CNN has previously reported that all 50 states have announced when they plan to open vaccinations to everyone who is eligible if they haven't done so already. New Jersey, South Dakota, and Nebraska have announced plans to expand eligibility for those 16 years or over before Biden's new deadline, and other states currently plan to open eligibility by May 1st. Biden expected a credit for governors' efforts to meet this May the 1st deadline for this to change. In Alexandria, the president said he hopes the US will have enough vaccine doses that will be able to distribute it to other countries pretty soon. Hopefully we're gonna get good enough pretty soon. When we have enough fat, we can give the rest of the world. Because physicists have that it's not just we could solve it here in America. If we don't solve it around the world, we can't build a wall or a fence high enough to keep our fires, Biden said. Tuesday announced the concept by the administration continues to ramp up natural vaccination effort with a focus on distributing the vaccine equitably across the country at risk to and underserved areas. Biden has used federal funds to create new community vaccination centres across the country and launch mobile vaccination close provider partnerships to reach underserved urban areas and rural communities. His administration also recently launched a fair national vaccine promotional campaign aimed at encouraging hesitant America to get immunized using funds from its $19 trillion COVID-19 economic relief package. As more and more Americans get vaccinated, the Biden administration will create a set of standards for people to prove they've been vaccinated against COVID-19, CNN has reported. An administrative official previously told CNN they were working with a range of companies on the standards, including non-profits and tech companies said they are still weeks away from being finalised. Biden has now said that the whole country is now vaccinated. A record month of America's the battle against COVID-19 is far from won, and cases are once again on the rise. The president called every governor, every mayor or local leader to maintain, in some cases reinstate mask mandates. His plea for some states have lifted requirements of masks and allow visitors to return to full capacity against the guideline for public health experts. More than 555,600 Americans have died from COVID-19 as of Tuesday morning, according to Johns Hopkins University. Approximately 167 million vaccines have been administered, according to the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. As US cases started to undoubtedly, disappointingly, shamefully risen again. Again, thanks to early like the researcher annoyed public health advice. But good news is it won't be that bad. It won't reach as high amounts of cases, less on deaths as it did in the winter, where it sets a world record of over 300,000 new infections in a single day. But for 4-5 America will probably not be as devastating. India looks set to overtake America's and number of most confirmed cases and deaths by the summer period as a couple of days ago, India set a new record of 100,000 new cases since the pandemic began. This could be a sign that something's terrible going to happen to India. Let's get all the bad stuff out of the way. Next song I'll be playing for it is gonna play and Chocolate Monkey by Peter Gabriel.
Through the fire
It was Shocker Monkey by Peter Gabriel on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. So, the next song I'll be playing for right now, it is... It is at, It is going to play, gonna play Hot in the City, Billy Idol.
It's hot in the night, lonely black and white on a hot summer night. Don't be afraid of the world we made on a hot summer night. 'Cause when a lonely and lovely walks by, yeah, you can see her look in her eye, and you know that it's hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. Hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. For all the dreams and schemes people always make it seem on a hot summer night. Don't be no fun, don't forget you're young on a hot summer night. Sometimes someone you're not won't wait to see what you got, but you know that you're hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. Alright, hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. We'll walk until my feet drop. I'm a train when I'm hateful. You lay right down now. I don't ride until your head breaks. I don't walk until my brain pops. I don't move with the beat now. I'm a train when I'm hateful. I'm really feeling heat now. New York, hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. Love, hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. Hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. Love, hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. I can love you. Hot in the city, hot in the city tonight. Tonight, alright. Hot in the city,
That was Hot in the City by Billy Idol on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. This is gonna tell you the top 10 most suicide countries per 100,000 people. And South Korea with 20.2. Number 9, Belarus with 21.4. Number 8, Equatorial Guinea 22.0. Number 7, Kyrgyzstan with 22.8. Number 6, Ivory Coast with 23.2. Number 5, Ceremony with 23.2. Number 4, Lithuania with 25.7. Number 3, Russia with 26.5. Number 2, Lesotho with 29.9. And Guyana is coming in number 1 on 30.2. Japan's at number 3 with 14.3. The USA is 13.7. Australia's 11.7 and New Zealand's 11.6. The UK is at 109, radio 7.6. The least suicidal country in the world is Barbados with 0.4. Next song I will be playing for today is Not No Number by Nico Walters.
We get in the ski mask and put the gas in the car. It's 4 a.m. and we're driving down the highway with a bag full of money, dirty laundry. Don't think I'm running this time, but I've been losing my mind. The thoughts of a criminal, all from a girl that's not mine. Oh, and there's a black and white man, hooded jacket in a chariot. Average height, not NBA, you sure he is? I'm positive, I know. I know. Oh, and then they try to ask the girl I'm in love with what's my whereabouts, and have you had a call or been in contact? Can we find them right now? Right now. She said, I don't know. I told her tell the cops to come, stop looking at it now. Right now. And she said, officer, can you leave your number? Cause I'm actually really busy right now. Picks up the phone and says, he's not my neighbor no more. Take off my jacket and ski mask and start regretting my actions. It's 5 a.m. and we're rolling around for $300. Couple 40s in the brown paper bag. Don't think I'm losing this time, but I've been losing my mind. The cryptic thoughts of a criminal, all from a girl that's not mine. Oh, and there's another weird description. There's a third guy in a running suit. Could've swear I seen him here before, but I'm not positive. I know, I don't know. Oh, and then they try to ask the girl I'm in love with if she loves me back, and have you had a call, and would you speak about a guilty man now? Right now. She said, I don't know. I told her tell the cops to come, stop looking at it now. Right now. And she said, officer, can you leave your number? Cause I'm actually really busy right now. Picks up the phone and says, he's not my neighbor no more.
Phenomenal Neighbour by Nico Walsh's on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. Next guy is coming up next. After I tell you the fact of the day. The fact of the day is JFK died younger than any other US president to date. Next final song will be Next Guys. Let Me Hold You, because Next Guys is a Belgian drum and bass producer which has proven very popular with Kiwis with their album Second Nature. Just cracked number 15 on the New Zealand albums chart, so here you go.
How you doing, how you been? Life got heavy, didn't it? Don't be shy, speak your mind. I'm not perfect, nor are you, but we both got things we've been through. So I'll do all I can, I'll try to understand. Cause I wanna love strangers like neighbors, I wanna be unafraid. So when the tears roll like waterfalls, you can call my name. And when the weight of the world's on your shoulders, I will hold you, I will hold you. And when the nights only seem to get colder, I will hold you, I will hold you. So let me hold you. 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 We look different, you and me, but our magic's underneath. Different skin, same within, and we could do with healing. But love's my favorite feeling, so I'll give all of me, if that is what you need. And when the weight of the world's on your shoulders, I will hold you, I will hold you. And when the nights only seem to get colder, I will hold you, I will hold you. So let me hold you. 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 So take a little love until you have enough to cover all the pain you hold. Don't you live in fear, cause everybody here has blood that's running with gold. So take a little love until you have enough to cover all the pain you hold. Don't you live in fear, cause everybody here has blood that's running with gold. And when the weight of the world's on your shoulders, I will hold you, I will hold you. And when the nights only seem to get colder, I will hold you, I will hold you.
That was Let Me Hold You by Next Guy and Hybrid Minds on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. That is unusual for have a drum bass act from Belgium, because most Belgian DJs really towards more like techno house or EDM pop, such as Lost Frequencies. Are you with me? Are you with me? So I won't have time to tell you that, because I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye bye. This is Sheldopedia on Arrow FM.